every culture has its own clock for running toward maturity. In one corner of the world, growing up means walking away and standing on your own. In another, it means staying closer than ever, rooted in family ties. Welcome to our Cross-Cultural Understanding Project. Group 2 proudly presents Growing Up or Staying Close, a comparative analysis of parental relationships and independence in America and Indonesia. Brought to you by Feral Ahmad Al-Fatih, Ivan Putra, Rahadiansyah, and Angela DWI Wanda. Let us dive into how the core values of independence, privacy, and individualism shape the boundaries of family under two completely different skies. Adulthood is a phase that every human will eventually go through. However, how we take our steps toward it is heavily determined by the culture in which we are raised. Today, through the lens of cross-cultural understanding, we will explore the stark contrast in parent-child relationships between the United States and Indonesia. Independence theory and the age of 80. In the United States, turning 18 is a sacred turning point. According to the CCU theory on page 9, the value of independence is instilled from an early age. Children are encouraged, even expected, to move out, live in dorms, and start financing their own college education. To become an adult means learning to stand on one's own 2 feet. On the contrary, in Indonesia, that boundary is never rigid. Children often continue to live with their parents well into adulthood. And even after they are married, living under the same roof is not seen as a sign of dependency, but rather a reflection of tight-knit family bonds. Privacy theory and personal space. This difference is deeply rooted in the concept of privacy and personal space. In America, privacy is a fundamental right. A child's room is their own sanctuary, where even parents must knock before entering. This physical distance is considered healthy for establishing personal boundaries. In Indonesia, however, togetherness holds far more value than privacy. A home is a public space for the extended family. Household boundaries are intentionally fluid because, care and affection are shown through closeness, not by keeping a distance. Individualism, theory, and decision-making. This brings us to the value of individualism. American culture highly values personal achievement and individual choices. When it comes to choosing a college major, a career path, or a life partner, young Americans are the absolute decision-makers of their own destiny, while parents act as a support system from afar. In Indonesia, the situation is entirely different. Our collective culture ensures that a child's major life choices are never a solitary matter. Life decisions always involve long family discussions and, most importantly, the full blessing of the parents. For an Indonesian child, moving forward with parental blessings is the ultimate form of respect and honor. Adulthood is a universal milestone of phase that every human being, regardless of where they are born, will eventually go through. It is the definitive threshold of maturity. However, how we take our very first steps toward it is not a fixed biological path. Instead, it is heavily determined, shaped, and painted by the culture in which we are raised. What does it mean to be a grown-up? Is it about breaking free? Or is it about holding close? Today, through the analytical lens of cross-cultural understanding, Group 2 invites you to explore the stark, fascinating contrast in parent-child relationships between two completely different societies. The United States of America and Indonesia. In the United States, turning 18 is not just a legal number. It is a sacred cultural turning point. According to foundational CCU theories on page 9, the value of independence is instilled in American children from a very tender age. Household boundaries are intentionally fluid and open. Doors are rarely locked, and rooms are constantly shared. For Indonesians, separating yourself in a closed room can often be misinterpreted as being distant or unhappy. This is because care, protection, and deep affection are actively shown through constant physical closeness, not by keeping a distance. This brings us directly to our third core concept, individualism. American culture is highly individualistic, placing immense value on personal achievements, self-reliance, and individual choices. When the time comes to make life-altering decisions, such as choosing a college major, selecting a career path, or picking a life partner, young Americans are the absolute, solitary decision-makers of their own destiny. They follow their personal desires. The parent's role is not to direct, but to act as an encouraging support system, watching proudly from a respectful distance.